A lot has happened since me and you last spoke about Cristiano Ronaldo. What is happening with the situation? Let's begin with the mutual termination. What happened? What did you hear? How it all played out?
No, it was a really complicated situation, really complicated, but also was very clear that the only way was to terminate that contract. There was no other way, also because right after the first release of the interview, Erik ten Hag, Manchester United board, they were together in the decision. It was very clear and communicated to Cristiano Ronaldo, to his agents. They didn't want Cristiano to return at Carrington. They wanted him to be 100% out of the project. And also Cristiano was prepared to terminate the contract. So the intention was the same. But of course, at Manchester United, they were really disappointed with the interview, with some of the sentences of Cristiano Ronaldo that were really strong on Manchester United project, on the manager, on respect for Erik ten Hag. So many strong points, and this is why they decided to terminate the contract. It's important to say that there will be no payoff. Cristiano Ronaldo had around £17 million left in his contract with Manchester United till the end of the season, and an option for potential further season. But of course, he decided to accept Manchester United decision to terminate the contract. He will not receive one single penny from Manchester United, and so Man United were really strong on a legal point of view after the interview, obviously, and this is why they decided to go with that kind of decision. And now it's on Jorge Mendes, because his agent is working to find the best solution. We know that the issue was already there in June, in July, so it's not new that Cristiano Ronaldo has to find a solution, and also Man United have to find a new striker, because this is the other part of the story. But for Cristiano, it's now time to explore the market, to focus on the World Cup, of course, with Portugal, but to explore the market and find the best solution. I wanted to clarify three things. We had many rumors in the last few days on Bayern, on a secret meeting, but Bayern sources are telling me that there was no meeting, and they are still convinced that they want to complete the season with the current squad. Same for Real Madrid. So I know it's fascinating to mention Real Madrid and Cristiano Ronaldo, but at the moment Real Madrid insists that they are not going to sign any player in January. And Newcastle, rumors on Newcastle and Cristiano Ronaldo, the message from Newcastle is they want to continue with the current project, young players. And so let's see what Mendes will find, but at the moment, no negotiations with these three clubs.
Well, obviously, it's the best possible time as well to put yourself in the shop window with a World Cup. Are there any sort of feelings that you're getting at the moment that we could see Ronaldo actually move away from Europe after this World Cup? I mean, he's won everything that there is to win, on the European continent already. There is still time in his career, perhaps, for an experience in Major League Soccer, perhaps somewhere even further afield. Is there anything that you're hearing that could be, maybe a surprise destination for CR7?
From what I'm told, he still wants to continue in Europe. So his priority is to continue at the best level in European football. And this is why in the summer, as he confirmed, he turned down that Saudi proposal that was around £350 million for a long-term contract. So it was a really big proposal from Saudi, but he decided to say no because he wanted to stay in European football. And this is still the priority. But never say never in that kind of situation, I would say. We know that January market is different. You don't have like 3 months to negotiate, 3 months to find the best solution. Is a shorter market, and so I would not be surprised if this approach on Cristiano's side would change. But let's see. At the moment, his priority is still with European clubs, and I feel that, as you mentioned, this World Cup is a big opportunity for him to shine again and to show that he's ready to make an impact also for Champions League clubs, because Cristiano wants to play Champions League. He's desperate for Champions League football.
Couple of quick comments coming in here. Letitia says, very well-deserved trophy for you, Fabrizio. She also made a comment, today's match between Portugal and Ghana is my response for the result. The game itself was very stressful, last minutes for all of the Portuguese. I agree with you there. Matt Osmond says, hey, Fab, is Ronaldo still determined to be a Champions League player? You just answered that one right there. And Rafa also saying congratulations on the award for you. A lot of congratulations, Fabrizio, from all of our family. Let's talk about Manchester United being up for sale. What are you hearing about that? Because United going up for sale, looking for potential new ownership or people who could invest in the club. What are you hearing behind the scenes that could potentially see maybe a new owner coming in, or maybe even a new owner coming into the club?
Yes, now obviously there are many rumors, and there will be many rumors on groups, on people interested in buying Manchester United, and it's normal. It's Manchester United, it's Liverpool, really big clubs on the market, and so it's normal to have this kind of stories. But what I'm told is that It's correct that there are already some groups in the process of approaching the Glazers family to buy Manchester United. So something is already happening, but we are obviously not yet at the stage of saying, okay, that group is going to buy Manchester United. So it will take some time. They want more than £5 billion for Manchester United. So it's going to be a long negotiation, but the process is already ongoing. There are groups interested, and I think it's going to be a big change for Manchester United, not just about the owners, but also about the board. They need to change something on board side, because we know how complicated it was for Manchester United to change things in the last 5-6 years, especially. So it was really difficult also to manage the transfer market, many difficult situations. And so now they have a big opportunity, not just for new owners, but also to rebuild the board, to rebuild the structure. And this will be the real mission for the new owners next summer. So I think 2023 is going to be a really important year for Manchester United.
It feels like we're venturing into not necessarily uncharted territory, but it's certainly unfamiliar territory, given that you've suddenly got quite a few big clubs available either for full purchase or, at least for a minority stake. You've got Manchester United, but you've also got PSG. You've also got Liverpool. And, this must be kind of a first for you in the last 10 years to have so many, opportunities at big clubs for investors at the same time, pretty much. And is there anything you're hearing perhaps about any crossover between, parties interested in Manchester United, PSG, and Liverpool?
Yes, it's normal that there are groups exploring these possibilities. As you mentioned, is particular to see at the same moment these three big clubs. Of course, with Paris Saint-Germain is different, but for Liverpool and Manchester United, that could be a really big moment to sell the whole club. And this is why there are groups that are exploring this possibility. But at the moment, it's still not something advanced. So I'm sure that it will take some time. But it's also important to mention, as I mentioned, the board on Manchester United side. But for Liverpool today, we had a really big news with Julian Ward prepared to leave the club at the end of the season. And this is surprising because he was the man to replace Michael Edwards, who did an incredible job for Liverpool for many years. And now Julian Ward is prepared to leave football, to take a break. And this is a rather important one for Liverpool. It means that they're going to rebuild again the structure and the board. And so it's not just about the ownerships, but it's also about rebuilding the idea, the identity, the project of these clubs. Of course, they have Klopp and Erik ten Hag, who are two guarantees, because Erik ten Hag is the man for the project, because Jurgen Klopp is the man for Liverpool project. He extended the contract a few months ago, but it's going to be a big change for Liverpool too, not just on the owners, but also on the board side.
Unmute, please, Nigel. That button, the red one that says unmute.
Fabrizio,
it's making sense for once.
Do you think that there's any kind of worry that one of the two biggest clubs in the world, you look at Liverpool, Manchester United, with American owners that are all of a sudden pulling back out of nowhere? Is that anything of any kind of worry or concern, do you feel?
No, at the moment, I would say not. I would say no, because the feeling is that it's going to be something to protect these clubs. For Liverpool, it's different because they are in a very positive moment, not this season, of course, but in the last 5-6 years has been amazing for Liverpool, the work they did, the ownership, the manager, the board. But for Manchester United, it's a big opportunity to bring in something fresh. So I don't see them worried, honestly. Also into the club, they feel there is a big opportunity to rebuild, to have a clear identity, to understand that sometimes in scheduling things for a top club like Manchester United, you need to be perfect with the strategy. And this is something that didn't happen at Manchester United for a long time. And so, no, I don't see them worried. But on both clubs' side, I think they know that this is a big opportunity. It's happened with Chelsea, because at the end, Todd Bowley is putting serious money in. He's rebuilding the board now. He invested on many players in the summer. I'm sure that in 2023, he will invest a lot of money on players, on young players especially. And so sometimes you have an opportunity in these kind of situations.
Fabrizio, I want to talk to you about Liverpool Football Club, because obviously news came out about certain personnel leaving the football club. Ian Graham resigns, director of research, and another major change at Liverpool. There was also news that Julian Ward was stepping down from the sporting director department. I mean, what is going on at Anfield that so many people are potentially being pulled away from the club? Or are they walking away from Liverpool? Is there something going on behind the scenes that we don't recognize?
No, I would say no. That's something I think is changing in football in general. It's difficult to find people prepared to stay in the industry on the same role for long-term projects. This is something that is happening in England, especially in Premier League, but not just in Premier League, because it's also in Italy, for example, sometimes it's different in Spain, where we see the same people taking care of the club for a long time. But in England, in Italy, sometimes also in Germany, this is changing. A lot of things are changing. It's difficult to find the same people into the club, into the board, working for the same club for maybe 5, 6, 7 years on a long-term project. I think we have to understand that football is changing, and it's not just the managers changing after 2, 3 years, but also people into the board. It's surprising. Honestly, with Liverpool, it's surprising because Julian Ward was the man prepared to change the Liverpool project after the incredible era of Michael Edwards. But now he's going to step down at the end of the season. It's a big change for Liverpool, and I'm sure that they want to make sure that the next director is someone who's prepared to work on long-term project together with Jurgen Klopp. But definitely something is changing in football.
Taking us back to the World Cup now, Fab, are there any young players who you've got your eye on as being potential breakout stars at this World Cup, or anyone who's caught your eye in particular in the first round of games that you maybe didn't expect to be talking about?
Honestly, too many. I say it's too early now to mention players, but there are many talented players. For example, Ismail Kone, this boy from Montreal playing for Canada. I really like him, and I'm told that some club in England is already keeping an eye on him, and so I'm curious to see what happens. But I like this kind of underrated talents who can make a big World Cup and have a big opportunity on the market. And then there are the stars of the future. I think the impact of Jude Bellingham also in the World Cup was great again, but we know very well how special is this player. But the World Cup is not easy to confirm yourself. Of course, in the Bundesliga he's doing fantastic, in Champions League he's doing fantastic, but this World Cup for Jude Bellingham is going to be really important. And I'm sure that Borussia Dortmund will be happy because Borussia Dortmund decided not to discuss with any club before the World Cup. They didn't want to mention a price because they didn't want to negotiate for 100 millions, 120. They wanted to wait for the World Cup and then to make a price. And so I'm sure that now 100, 120 million euros is absolutely not enough to sign Jude Bellingham. There will be a crazy race in the summer, and I think it's going to be his World Cup because it's really important for him to show again how special he is with many, many top clubs prepared to fight to sign him.
I want to ask you about Christopher Nkunku. Obviously, unfortunate what happened to him at the World Cup. But before I get to there, it was a great question from JJ about breakout stars. Mohamed Kudus today impressed me immensely from Ghana. I thought he was absolutely terrific. I mean, he's obviously signed long-term for Ajax Amsterdam, but this is a youngster who's shining brightly in the Champions League. Will it be very difficult for Ajax Amsterdam to hold on to a kid like this? I mean, he's super talented.
I think next summer there could be a move for him because last summer Everton wanted him. It was an advanced negotiation, then the deal collapsed because Ajax already sold many players. It was a difficult summer for Ajax. They lost the manager Erik ten Hag and many stars, as we know, of course, Anthony, Lisandro, Tagliafico, Nana, Gravenberch, Mazraoui. So they completely changed the squad, and this is why they decided to keep Kudus. But I think next summer, or maybe January, let's see, but next summer could be the right moment for him to go to have an opportunity in Premier League. As I mentioned, Everton have always been interested in signing him, but I'm sure that other clubs in the Premier League will be interested in Kudus. He's a very good player. He had also a very good game in Champions League at Anfield, playing against Liverpool in a difficult Champions League campaign for Ajax. He was pretty good, and so I'm sure that he will have an opportunity very soon.
All right, let's get on to Christopher Nkunku. Really unfortunate what happened to him days before the World Cup began, getting this serious injury. We're hearing more and more about this Chelsea rumours. Regardless of that knee injury, it looks like the deal could be done with Chelsea. What more can you tell us?
I can tell you that Christopher Nkunku will play for Chelsea, so I'm almost sure. The point is about signing the contracts, but the deal is ready. The deal is almost ready between Chelsea and Leipzig, between Nkunku and Chelsea. The contract is ready. You already had the medical, as we mentioned here, in September. I think it was end of September when we say the medical was not for personal things, as one mentioned. It was a medical with Chelsea staff there to become a Chelsea player in summer 2023. So I'm pretty sure that Nkunku will play for Chelsea. Now it's time to wait to sign the contracts because we know how important it is in football to sign contracts, and Chelsea know that very well after Koundé, Rafinha stories in the summer. But Nkunku said yes to Chelsea, and Chelsea have an agreement ready with Leipzig. So it's just a matter of time to sign the contracts, and then we will know the truth. But Nkunku will play for Chelsea.
Fabrizio, just a player that I've been very impressed with. I've always been a fan of. I don't think we've really seen the full potential. We saw glimpses today, Juan Felix. What's the chances of him being able to leave Atletico Madrid?
There are chances. It's not an easy one because Atletico Madrid invested 120 millions on this boy. And so there is people into the board saying, we want to protect João Felix. We want him to be here at Atletico Madrid long term. But then the reality is that he's not playing. He's not in the starting 11 with Diego Simeone. And we know the relationship with Simeone on a technical point of view is not easy, probably because Simeone was different kind of player for his squad. But João Felix is not in the starting 11. And so this is why there is a chance for him to live in 2023. I'm not sure that it's going to be January. Depends on the proposals. I say that it's not easy because it's not easy to find clubs prepared to pay more than 120 millions in January. But there are clubs like Paris Saint-Germain. Last summer, Manchester United asked for him. Many clubs keeping an eye on João Felix. So I'm sure that he will be a big opportunity on the market in 2023, but it also depends on Atletico because people into the board are still hoping to keep the player and to make him the star of Atletico for the future.
Joe Felix, I know, my bad, Fabrizio. Sorry, I know I said one. I got into the whole Latin American vibe. You know, it's Joe Felix. My apologies, Joe Felix.
Couple of